Don't point it at me.
So I accidentally spent all of my doubloons on stuff that wasn't one of those cool, expensive FPV RC cars I've always wanted. But what I do have enough for is this crappy Dollar Tree RC car, and by extension, its tasty innards to combine them with various parts I already have to create something of my own, which was a pretty good steal because of all of the specific goodies inside, like these pretty nice SMD LEDs pre-mounted on a PCB, the DC motors, of course, and the fact that this car's shell is already designed to drive on both sides, which I thought would be pretty cool for any RC car. I don't know why more aren't designed like this in the first place. It also comes with this terrible controller that we can crack open to see exactly why it's so terrible. This is because, as you can see, both the speed and steering joysticks are only controlled with momentary on-off switches, meaning that there's no speed control at all, which is pretty lame in my opinion, so we won't be needing this thing at all. Instead, I'll just be stealing parts from my old Xbox 360 controller, like its joystick that actually has analog capabilities, its little buttons, and the analog triggers to add speed controls. I'm also going to be using this ESP32 and ESP cam that I got for Christmas for the controller and FPV car logic respectively, with both being equipped with antennas to maximize the range for the connection. So with everything gathered and thrown onto our parts pile, we can add some coffee to it and get down to the business. First, I'll need to use this very sketchy setup to probe the pins on the bottom of this hat programmer for the ESP cam so that I can still use the serial monitor with the other stuff connected. Don't ask why I didn't just use the normal ESP32 with the onboard programmer so that I could just plug this whole thing onto the breadboard instead. I don't know either. But either way, this mess is still necessary so that I can use this simple printing code to get the analog values of the joystick and both triggers at different positions. I'll need these values later when I write the code for the controller to properly map the positions to a value the motors can actually understand so that they can see how far the joystick or triggers are pushed and control the speed or positions of the motors accordingly. With this, we can get our code coded for both the RC car itself and the controller. I'll also be tossing this phone VR thing I also got for Christmas onto my pile since I'll be making my FPV camera VR capable. Yes, I did name the car Rover so that I can get the full FPV experience when I inevitably use this thing to terrorize my friends. Affectionately, of course. At the same time, I'll also transform the rest of that pile into this amalgamation of cables I definitely didn't almost crash out over while I was wiring the tiny analog connections without them constantly falling off. One eyesore of cables is for the controller, and one absolute headache for the RC car itself. The controller uses those triggers I snatched from the Xbox controller to make the car do forward things as you push down on one, and backwards things as you push down the other, and eventually slows down and stops if both triggers are held down at the same time with math, along with the help of this motor controller so that our dumb little DC motors can gain the ability to go in both directions in the first place. The controller's joysticks only use the X-axes to steer the servo motor that'll be controlling the direction of the car, with any Y value just being ignored. I mean, that part isn't even wired to anything. And then we have the controller buttons, with one little guy to flip the camera since it would be kind of annoying to watch the VR feed upside down if the car flips, one to control the very bright stand-in headlights, and one fun little button that controls a relay that we can attach anything to. The possibilities are truly endless, but less endless while everything is still attached to the test bench. The car at most draws about 4.5 watts of power, at max running at a safe 5 volts, so nothing gets fried to hell. So we can use this buck converter set to 5 volts to step down our beefy 7.4 volt RC car battery to a safer voltage for both the motors and ESP cam by turning the screw until the out point says about 5 volts, and after the thing nearly burns my house down because I'm apparently allergic to reading documentation for new parts I use. The controller will just be using this 9 volt battery with a 5 volt linear regulator since the controller draws a lot less power without motors to drive, and it's a lot less work to use. But with that added to our absolute clusterfuck of wires, we can finally start to get this all cleaned up by designing some PCBs for it instead. The PCB design for the car isn't really all that interesting. It just has to be as small as physically possible. But the PCB for the controller, on the other hand, was made to exactly fit the shape of my soon-to-be mutilated Xbox 360 controller shell. That turned out perfect. I'm very proud of it, and it definitely deserves a sub because I mean, look at how good these things turned out. So after getting these things all soldered together and screwed in for the relay, first try by the way, I also decided to add this clear heat shrink and seal the ends with silicone eventually over the power button to help with waterproofing when I eventually cover the rest of the PCB in a waterproofing conformal acrylic coating. So with all of that perfectly soldered, we can get down to the fit check and eventually chewing apart the casing to force the fit. We can see here that we won't be needing the D-pad, any of these buttons, or the hole where the other joystick would be, so we can plan to get all of that stuff cut out and covered up. As for the battery, I just figured I could stick this thing through the back and just tape the battery to the back of the controller or something. I don't know, I'm lazy. And I thought I could just do the same with this thick antenna or whatever, but either way, I'm sure it'll find somewhere to stick itself eventually. The car, on the other hand, is going to be a lot harder to jigsaw everything into, since the original configuration wasn't exactly made for something this advanced, but I figured it could all fit in there kind of like this, with the batteries glued to the outside of the car and the FPV camera being placed about here so that it'll be about in the same place when the car flips. So after getting all of the unnecessary bits cut out and getting the wheel holes widened, this will hopefully be enough for everything to actually fit in here, fingers crossed. Luckily the controller is a lot easier to work out, since after violently tearing out the D-pad and a few other things, the whole thing just kind of snaps into place nicely. We still do need to cover up all of these extra holes though eventually, but before we move on to aesthetics, we still are missing one more part, since the servo can't exactly control the steering just on its own. Without this cool steering thing, I definitely didn't struggle planning out. This will allow the tires to go into these standoff things and swivel as the servo turns with this wire tied between them. A big improvement from just having only one wheel spin at a time to make the thing turn like it did with its old design. And in speaking of old design, now we can move on to making this thing look a little less slapped together by using air dry clay to fill in all the holes and gaps in the unused buttons, because I didn't feel like measuring and designing 3D printed plugs for these things. We'll also need to slap on these supports that actually did 3D print, since I cut off all the car's other screw holes before drowning everything in spray paint. I even painted a little power symbol on the Xbox power button, and I know the painting is ass. Stop staring at it so hard, I'm trying my best here. But with that, we can finally start getting these things assembled with only a few problems, like completely forgetting what screws go where, needing multiple attempts to put the face on the controller without all of the buttons falling out, getting a screw that definitely wasn't meant for the controller stuck in the controller, and getting distracted with button mashing. So with the controller assembled, I took the time to admire all of my hard work. I even added a little diffusion screen for the power LED, and found a convenient place for the antenna, before of course diving right back in to deal with cramming everything into this clown car around this huge taser module, and of course having my phone run out of storage mid-recording. So I unfortunately had to struggle through more fun problems without you, mainly dealing with issues with the wheels, since first I realized just keeping the wheels in their old position wouldn't work anymore since the wheel pivot would bump the back tires, so I tried making this bracket for it to kind of push it back, but then the torque wasn't actually enough to drive the car, and the gears from the gearbox that came with the car wasn't going to really be enough to make the gearbox without a lot more work and research, since I'll be making a gearbox with a ratio of 48:1, which should be enough to drive this absolute homunculus. Leave me alone, I'm not a mechanical engineer, but since I don't have any gears to make this ratio, I could either 3D print some or break one of my rules to only use parts from the old car and just use a pre-made gearbox and motor set with the exact ratio I need. So of course I went with the second option, I'm lazy. But eventually all problems were solved, leaving us with something actually pretty sick looking in my opinion, with these old but still smooth skateboard bearings I put in the front wheels, its teeth I added for nefarious purposes, and the simple supports I printed and added to the wire to stop them from doing the most when the thing turns, and gluing the batteries to the back of this thing's dump truck because there's no way anything else is going to fit in this car. So now it's finally time to bust out some screws and the other side of this thing to get it all forced together like I'm trying to force an overstuffed suitcase closed, and find a willing participant to test this thing on the road.
Well, let's see the arc on the taser first.
I forgot what button it was. I think that might
That's
be
the lights.
But yeah, that's what I'm... See, it's not...
Okay, so it's not as bad as the gloves.
Yeah, this is low power taser.
Yeah, but it's still a taser.